Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, The Dintle Ponder Sews, and I'm Dintle. And if you're worried about my credentials, please note that I am a qualified fashion designer and a qualified garment technologist in South Africa. Now I know fashion can be very expensive, and a lot of the times we think to ourselves we need to get all the fancy, the latest gadgets, the latest equipment, and you know what? This video is to tell you that is not the case, honey. I can tell you for a fact, as a fashion design student and a fashion designer myself, fashion was a very expensive course for me to study, but it doesn't have to be. So here is a trick for you to start sewing under 1,000 Rand in South Africa. Using a sewing machine can be very taxing emotionally and obviously straining budgetly, because sewing machines are very expensive. Even an Empicel sewing machine is expensive. You are looking at about 2,000, 3,000 on Takealot, at Game, Macro. Even when it is on sale, you will not find any of the brands, well, maybe Brother for 1.5, 1.9 on Takealot. That's on a good day. But a lot of the times, sewing machines are expensive, entry level, domesticated as they are. I found a sewing machine where you don't have to spend 1,000 Rand. You don't even need to spend 600. Maybe if you're including delivery on Takealot, you might reach that 600 Rand budget. But this baby over here is very compact, you guys. I started off with this sewing machine before I even bought my Empicel sewing machine. And I can tell you one thing, you are in safe hands. This sewing machine has all the necessary functions that you will need when it comes to sewing. Okay, so do not underestimate this guy. I will leave the link in the description box. So now that we've gotten the big guy out of the way, second tool that you're going to need is scissors. And you're not going to need one. You're going to need two pairs of scissors. One is going to be for your fabric and the other one is going to be for your paper. This is for cutting out your patterns and anything that you're going to be doing on paper. And if you're questioning why do you need two scissors, let me tell you something. You do not want to make the mistake of cutting your fabric and your paper or your pattern with the same scissors, because here's what's going to happen. Your scissors is going to get blunt, and I learned that in varsity, because I thought to myself, why do I need two pairs of scissors? Like, I can use the same scissors, like, you know, killing two birds with one stone. No, I played myself and I had to go and buy another expensive scissors for fabric. You can buy these normal scissors at ShopRite, at Checkers, at Game, at Pick n Pay, at Spar, any retail outlet where you can buy these for like 20 Rand, 30 Rand at most. If you're looking for a good pair of fabric scissors, however, I would suggest you start at your fabric shops. They may be a little bit on the steeper end, maybe about 60, 70 Rand for a pair. I don't even think I spent over 100 Rand for these pair of scissors, but this will take, and I've had these since varsity, and trust me, they are still as sharp as they were on the day I bought them. So be sure that you buy not one, but two scissors. One for patterns and paper, and two for fabric, and never confuse the two. So if you're buying two of the same scissors, rather label one for fabric and label one for paper. Please, guys, take my advice. You do not want to make the same mistake as I did. Seeing as I've mentioned paper, I think it's important that we speak about rulers. Now, if you want to get into pattern making, you are going to need a good set of rulers, not a ruler, a good set of rulers. And I will leave a link to the rulers that I got for my birthday and Takealot. And guys, let me tell you something, this is not even going to cost you 200 Rand, okay? You won't necessarily have to use all the rulers in this pack, but it's very good to have them all at once, especially when you start advancing when it comes to your pattern making skills. So I'm gonna list off the first ones that I think are very crucial when you're starting off. So you can take this ruler over here. I think this ruler is very important, especially when you want to shape your armholes and your necklines. If you really want to go in there and give yourself a nice curve, this ruler will definitely come in handy. The second ruler that I also think is important is also this ruler. And I know what you're thinking, Dintle, this is also curved. But the good thing is that this curve and this curve is very different. This one you can use to like shape your legs, you can use to shape your hips, and my cat is scratching the couch and my mom is gonna kill me. But anyways, this ruler is very important for your hips. So if you want to shape up your hips, you want to shape up your waist, you want to shape up your leg shapings, this is lovely, because as you can see, the curve is not so steep like this guy over here where you can shape your little neckline. More than anything, you will need a straight ruler. These are very imperative. This is like your starting block, okay? If you are working on a pattern and you don't have a straight ruler, where are you going, my friend? Where are you going? And please note, these rulers are using centimeters, okay? So we are using centimeters in South Africa. If you are watching this in South Africa, we are using centimeters, and if you're watching this from any other country but South Africa, please note that we are using centimeters. We do not necessarily work in inches. I'm not even gonna go into it, but we mainly work with centimeters and sometimes millimeters as well. Another tool that I also think is very important, this is called a tracing wheel. You also find much sharper ones than this, but if you are a little bit afraid of making any indentations on your table and you don't have a cutting mat yet, this is your go-to girl, okay? This is a tracing wheel, and we usually use it when we are tracing patterns. So when you start off with a master pattern and you want to trace off certain sections of your pattern, we use a tracing wheel to trace the master pattern to make up a new pattern. So that would be the pattern that you essentially manipulate to get the silhouette that you are looking for. And once again, I will go into full detail explanation once we get into the pattern making tutorials, okay? A deal is a deal, so you have to come back. Another important, guys, where are you going if you do not have this? This is called a measuring tape, and as I've mentioned, we work in centimeters. You have your inches right here at the back, but this is our standard measuring tape in South Africa. I personally love these measuring tapes, but I am mindful of the fact that you have to change it every once in a while, because the thing about these measuring tapes is that they stretch over time. So the best way to see if your measuring tape is still functional is to test it against your ruler. So what you would normally do is you'll take your straight ruler, which I'm looking for over here. So you'll take your straight ruler and you'll line it up with your measuring tape, and you will check from there if your centimeters are aligned. If your centimeters are not aligned, then you know that your measuring tape is slightly off. So any measurements that you take with your measuring tape will also be slightly off. So be sure to check in on your measuring tape to ensure that it is aligned and it is still proper and is still functional, because next thing, your garments are going to look slightly too big because your body measurements are wrong. So be sure to check that measuring tape at least every month if you are a consistent seamstress. Okay, cool. Now these tools, you're gonna have to practice a little bit of safety. Pins. You've got two kinds of pins. I'm pretty sure you've got a lot others, but these are our two standards that we normally work with. So you've got these normal pins over here. So these ones are, as you can see, it doesn't have an end to it. I love using these on woven fabrics. I think they work really well. I also love using them on like my sateen and my satin fabrics, but personally, I would like to move on to clips because satin is a very delicate fabric. And then we have these ones over here, which are more, they have like a ball point to it, so you can hold it. Ooh. So you can see that. I prefer to use these on knits. Okay, especially all my stretchy fabrics, I prefer to use it because I feel like these ones, they disappear inside the fabric sometimes because your fabric stretches, while in comparison to these, you can see these ones. Okay guys, in all that you do, please practice safety when dealing with pins. Do not under any circumstances put a pin in your mouth and think to yourself, oh, I'm just putting it just for like 2 seconds, I'm gonna pin my layers together quick fast. No, we've had incidences where people have swallowed a pin. Do not make an example out of yourself, okay? Because I can imagine your family reunion, you're going to be known as that child who swallowed a pin. So please do not traumatize yourself, and do not traumatize the country either. Practice safety. Lovely thing is you have this over here. This is a cushion. If you don't have this, I will teach you how to make a cushion so that you can put your pins very close by. You can also invest in a magnetic pin holder. It keeps your pins for you and you can just pull it safely. Don't put it in your mouth because your mouth is not a pin holder. This is one of my favorite tools, especially if your sewing machine does not come with a function to cut off your what you call this, your thread. This over here, this is called a nipper. As you can see, it's very nice and sharp. We normally use it to clean off any loose threads on our garments. So I would keep this very close, as close as you'd keep the pins essentially. So invest in this, okay? I believe I only bought this for like 18 Rand at the sewing center in Cape Town. So you're not even spending 20 Rand on these. Pins are also relatively cheap, you guys. These are like 20 Rand, 30 Rand at any fabric shop. Obviously, you will find different brands. Like your brands such as Singers are going to be a little bit more expensive because it's a very popular brand, but your unknown brands, these will relatively work out cheaper for you, okay? So these are your best friends, okay? This, if you want a neat and tidy garment, invest in a nipper. Come back and you say, Dintle said, invest in a nipper, and I understand. Trust me, we'll have this conversation. This is going to be your best friend. This over here, this is bestie. This is bestie after your sewing machine. This is called an unpicker, also known as a seam ripper. We use this if you made a mistake, right? And you want to undo your seams. You will not use scissors. Why are you doing that? Please, you're not uncultured. Please don't do that. This will help to rip up your seams, okay? Over here, there's like a really sharp blade right here in this section over here. So you put it in and you pull the thread. Okay, and it cuts it for you. It rips the thread for you. So please guys, do not use scissors to undo your seams. Use this, it's neater. Trust me, you will thank me later. This is your best friend. She stays with you. She follows you in every sewing project. You are going to make mistakes, and that is okay. That is okay. In fact, that's great, okay? Because some of my best projects were mistakes. So this is your best friend. If you want to go back, this is your eraser, okay? This is your eraser. Last tool that you're going to need is chalk. Why do we need chalk, Dintle? And please note, it's not the chalk that you use to write on a blackboard. This is fabric chalk. So whenever you're outlining your pattern on your fabric, we would use chalk. It's a very easy how could I call it, marker essentially, because it doesn't necessarily stain your clothes. It just aligns it enough for you to be able to sew, and it washes away. In fact, you can even wipe chalk away, okay? So invest in good quality chalk, you guys, and I would suggest investing them in colors. You can get white, you can get pink, so that when you're working with different colorways, your chalk is visible, because you don't want to use white chalk on a white fabric and then expect to see results. What are you know? But you can use a blue chalk on white fabric, you can use a pink chalk on white fabric, and you don't have to worry. There will be no color damages. Your white fabric will still be white. You just need to rinse it, or you just need to wash it, or just wipe it off, because it's chalk. But however, I prefer washing it off because it is a waxy chalk in comparison to normal standard chalk, okay? And there you have it, you guys. These are all budget friendly, and trust me, you will not be spending more than 1,000 Rand on these. So your sewing journey doesn't have to be expensive as long as you're with me. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, be sure to like, be sure to comment. If you have any questions regarding any of the tools that I've just mentioned today, please guys, feel free to leave it in the comment section and I will get back to you. Please note that our next video will be setting up our sewing machine. So I'm giving you enough time to run and buy the sewing machine. You'll thank me later, because I can tell you one thing. If you have questions like, can it sew denim? Yes, it can. It can, but we're not there yet, okay? We are not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. So as I mentioned, please be sure to like, Be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe, and most importantly, guys, be sure to share, because we're trying to grow our family and we're trying to grow this class before we graduate onto big girl things. Okay, see you in the next one.